On your body. This is Yogilesh. So today's topic is waveguide components and applications. From this topic, we're going to discussing about what are the components you required for your waveguide and where you need to use these waveguide components. It means that in which applications we are going to use your waveguide components. From that, the list of components are scattering parameters, the scattering matrix, properties of matrix, coupling mechanism. So these are the major contents of waveguide components and applications. Coming to first one, scattering parameter. In the scattering parameter, let us assume if we have a linear two-port network are characterized by a number of equivalent circuit parameters such as their transfer matrix, impedance matrix, admittance matrix, and scattering matrix. Let us assume if you have a two-port networks, you need to apply from one port voltage. If you are applying, let us assume A1, B1 as the input parameters of your two-port networks, maybe it will be generate B2, A2 outputs from your two-port network. Let us assume if we are applying V1, these A1, B1 are, let us assume V1. If you are applying this V1 as the input to your two-port network, let us assume you are getting from the output terminal of two-port network is a V2. V2 is nothing but B2 and A2. The transfer matrix, also known as a ABCD, let us assume ABCD is the matrix, relates the voltage and current at a port 1 to those at port 2, whereas the impedance matrix relates to voltages V1 and V2 to the currents I1 and I2. Okay, you need to represent this will be in the form of mathematical representation. V1 I1 is equals to ABCD into V2 I2. This is the transfer matrix. If you want to impedance matrix, means V1 V2 is equals to Z11 Z12 Z21 Z22 into I1 minus I2. It is the impedance matrix. We will discuss in the next topic, coming topics. Next one is the scattering matrix. The scattering matrix is defined as the relationship between the forward and backward moving waves. I'll repeat again. The scattering matrix is defined as the relationship between the forward and backward moving waves. For a two-port network, like any other set of two-port parameters, the scattering matrix is a two matrix. I'll repeat again. For example, if you take a two-port network, like any other set of the two-port parameters, the scattering matrix is two matrix. Let us assume V1 V2 is equals to S11 S12 S21 S22 into V1 plus V2 plus. So this is the scattering matrix representation. So next one is properties of S matrix. So in general, the scattering parameters are complex quantities having the following properties. Property 1, when any Z port is perfectly matched to the junction, then there are no reflections from that. Thus S is equals to scattering matrix, S matrix, S is equals to, if all the ports are perfectly matched, then the leading diagonal elements will be 0. I'll repeat again. If all the ports are perfectly matched, then only the leading diagonal elements all will be 0. This is the property 1. This is a very important property. Okay. Next, property 2. Symmetric property of S matrix. The another name for this property 2 is the symmetric property of S matrix. If microwave junction satisfies reciprocity condition and if there are no active devices, then the S parameters are equals to their corresponding transposes. I'll repeat again. If a microwave junction satisfies reciprocity condition and if there are no active devices, then S parameters are equal to their corresponding transposes. That is, S1 is equals to S1, S2. Next, property 3. Sometimes we need to call property this is the unitary property. Okay, so in the unitary property, for a lossless junction, this property states that for any lossless network, the sum of the products of each term of any row or any one column of the S matrix with its complex conjugative is unity. I'll repeat again. Any one column of the S matrix is its complex conjugative is unity. This is the unitary property for lossless junction. Next, property 4. We need to call this property 4 is also phase shift property, which means that the phase of the property will be maybe going to change. Complex X parameters of a network are defined with respect to the positions of the ports. Complex S parameters of a network are defined with the respect to the positions of the ports, or sometimes you need to call the positions of the ports also a reference planes. For a two-port network with unprimed reference planes 1 and 2, which means that the S parameters have defined values. So this is the properties of S matrix. We'll repeat again the first property 1, property 2, 3 and 4. In the property 1, the major important rule is if all the ports are specified, if all the ports are perfectly matched, then the leading diagonal elements will all be 0. In the second one, symmetric property, right? If there are no active devices, then the S parameters are equal to their corresponding transposes. This is the second one. Like the third one is any column of the S matrix with its complex conjugative is unity. Next, the fourth one, S parameters of a network are defined with respect to the positions of the ports. So these are the 4 properties. The next one is coupling mechanism. So there are 3 devices used to inject or remove energy from waveguides, are probes, loops and slots. Slots means aperture coupling. So the first one is for injecting or removing the energy from the wave. If you want to remove or inject the wave energy from your waveguide, means you need to use 2 probes. You need to use 3 coupling mechanisms. The first one is the probe, second one is loops, and the third one is the aperture or slots. Slots may be also called as aperture or windows sometimes. Okay, coming to the first one. First one is probe coupling. When a small probe is inserted into a waveguide and supplied with microwave energy, it acts as a quarter wave antenna, and the current flow in the probe and setups an E field, such as we need to call what? Electromagnetic field or electric field. So the E lines detached themselves from the probe. When the probe is located at the point of highest efficiency, the E lines set up an E field considerable. The most efficiency placed to locate the probe is in the center of a wall, which will be parallel to the wall. Okay, so this is the point at which the E field is maximum in the dominant mode. Therefore, energy transfer is maximum at this point. Note that the quarter wavelength spacing is at the frequency required to propagate the dominant mode. So this is the probe coupling. So the next one is another way of injecting energy into waveguide is by another one is injecting the waveguide by setting an H field in the waveguide. This can be accomplished by inserting a small loop which carries a high current into the waveguide. A magnetic field builds up around the loop and expands to fit the waveguide. If the frequency of the current in the loop is within the band of the waveguide, energy will be transferred to the waveguide. For the most efficient coupling to the waveguide, the loop is inserted at one of the several points where the magnetic field will be of greatest strength. When less efficient coupling is desired, you can rotate or move the loop until it encircles a smaller number of H lines. When the diameter of the loop is increased, its power handling capability also increases. The bandwidth can be increased by increasing the size of the Y used to make the loop. When a loop is introduced into a waveguide in which an H field is present, a current is induced in the loop. When this condition exists, energy is removed from the waveguide. So this is the coupling. This is the coupling of a loop. The next one is aperture coupling. Aperture are sometimes used when very lossless coupling is desired, which may be happening. In this method, energy enters through a small aperture in the waveguide, and the E field expands into the waveguide. The E lines expands first across the slot and then across the interior of the waveguide. Minimum reflection occurs when the energy is injected or removed. If the size of the slot is properly proportioned to the frequency of energy. After learning how energy is coupling into and out of a waveguide with slots, you might think that leaving the end open is the most simply way of injecting or removing energy in a waveguide. This is not the case, however, because when energy leaves a waveguide, fields from around the end of the waveguide. These fields cause an impedance mismatch, which in turn cause the development of standing waves and drastic loss in the efficiency. So this is the waveguide components and applications. Thank you.